People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
Welcome to What's Left podcast on the Derealization Nation Media Network.
I can't afford Mountain Dew! Okay? The economy's rough right now! Obama!
Miners, I love miners.
And now, your hosts.
Welcome, everyone. What's Left podcast, John, Jake, and Brad on the Derealization Nation Media Network. Take the time, please, to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. By the time we get done with this, we're going to have talked about Erica Kirk, Romania, Greg Laurie, the new pastor on our tour, ICE, Israel. It's a big show, lots of stuff, and just so much to get to, and so interesting and fun. But we got so much nasty shit to get through first. So let's start there. Let's start with Minnesota. Let's start with Alex Preddy. His parents today released a statement. Several celebrities and stuff are also starting to come out, but let's start with his parents. It's just heartbreaking, but also very cursed. So it says, "We are heartbroken, but also angry. Alex was a kind-hearted soul who cared deeply for his family and friends, also the American veterans whom he cared for as an ICU nurse in the Minneapolis VA hospital. Alex wanted to make a difference in this world. Unfortunately, he will not be able to be with us to see his impact. I do not throw around the hero term lightly. However, the last thought and act was to protect a woman. The sickening lies told about our son by the administration are reprehensible and disgusting. Alex is clearly not holding a gun when attacked by Trump's murdering and cowardly ICE thugs. He has his phone in his right hand and his empty left hand is raised above his head while trying to protect the woman ICE just pushed down, all while being pepper sprayed. Please get the truth out about our son. He was a good man." He was a good man. Charge accepted. We will absolutely continue to speak the truth about that. And so in response, guys, of course, the Trump administration, Kristi Noem, Greg Vino, all these people, even Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, who have been just ostracized to Epstein Island since they fumbled the files. Were out there doing the rounds on the shows. Scott Bessant, who lost 90% of his company's hedge fund during a boom. All of them out there telling these lies about Alex Preddy and the administration. Just trash, absolute trash. And people who listen to this are trash. And if you buy this, you're trash. And I mean, if I'm overstating it, you can go ahead and push back. But in my mind, this is the absolute end red line. End red line.
Yeah, they can't justify this one. They did a really bad job of justifying Renee Good. Mm-hmm. This one is unjustifiable to any rational human left. The independents, if you are not an inbred MAGA, there is no justification of this to you. There is not one. I saw a video dubbed over of Greg Bovino and Kristi Noem reciting a speech, and they were literally saying the same thing. I couldn't hear Greg Bovino as much. They need to get him another step stool when he comes to the podium. But it was verbatim what the other one was saying. It's just a script to them.
Yeah, it's a coordinated attack and effort, and they've been literally repressing, like they're working extra double overtime on social media to repress everything and push the shitty narrative from bots and stuff too. And it just goes to show like how, powerful this can be. And that's why we need to thank you guys too, just for pushing us into the algorithm, because that is absolutely not the kind of thing that is trying to get pushed out there, but we still keep making it out, and that's on you guys. Jake, just the response from the administration, I don't think it's landing with anybody, do you?
Of course it's going to land with some people. We always say that there's not that many out there, but there are. They're here, and they're still believing everything that they spew out. But I do think people realize, you can tell by the numbers of the protest, that this has gone way too far. We know you can't say shit like this anymore without, you're not going to believe it as easily. That's for sure. That's why they've already moved on from Renee Good. It's old news already, unfortunately.
You'd think Mac would be tired of it because, that the leadership of this administration, they won't even spit on it for him. They just make them look like idiots every time. Like they go out there and defend this stuff, and then They pull the rug on them over and over and over again. Sometimes, literally, even in the crypto scene, like they constantly rug pull these motherfuckers.
Right, and then
Dude,
they do
the
something else. So
one
like we don't have the time to like really dig in that they're wrong because then they just make another mistake. So like we have to talk about that one. So it's kind of
Right.
kind of hard to keep up with like their lies because there's so many so frequently that we cannot keep up. And we're like, oh yeah, we're still talking about this one, and then it's like, oh shit, well this one's just as bad. So now
It's
we have to
but
talk about this.
and you know what? That makes a difference on the margins because people who are less informed catch these things, hear them at will, and think, "Oh God, is that what happened?" You
Hmm.
know, and
Right.
take that for gospel.
one thing Republicans have stood for since as long as I've been alive, at least couldn't I mean,
Yeah.
is the Second Amendment. And these brainwashed, inbred MAGA morons are now arguing against the Second Amendment. Well, you shouldn't have had a gun. That's what the Republicans are saying. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
How are you so brainwashed and playing such beta to this administration that you're like, actually, we don't care about the Second Amendment anymore. We were just kidding.
Yeah. Psych.
You're willing to let kids get killed in schools and won't speak out against the Second Amendment, but ICE can murder Americans in the street, and that's where you draw the line at the Second Amendment.
Yep, I forgot to get the statement from one of the mothers for gun restrictions. They put out a statement that was essentially that, like, how many kids have been sacrificed on the altar of the Second Amendment, only to have the people who purported to make it so important all of a sudden make it okay when somebody gets murdered. And this is a old fucking playbook. This is what we have. This is what I when I was we had the 2A show, and I kept telling people you were more likely to get shot with a gun than without. And people wouldn't believe that because they live in, they live far away from people. They don't know what it's like because they refuse to accept that when a black man is gunned down by the police, if that person has a gun on him, then the news tells you that they deserved it. That story gets buried. That person gets forgotten. You see it, especially like most recently with Keith Porter Jr. You will not find a mainstream news outlet. You will not find a mainstream politician that will add his name to the list of people being murdered in these ICE raids because, well, he was black and he had a gun. Therefore, we can't defend him. We can't defend him. And that has been happening for centuries. Well, for as long as this country's been around, that is what has been happening. Um, this is the first time that the country has witnessed it happen to a white dude in 4K on their cell phone, though. And now it's real to everybody. And it's shitty that that's the way it is. But welcome to reality, motherfuckers, is what I got for you.
A lot of people were content as long as they were killing people that they viewed as less than them.
Absolutely.
A
Whether
lot of men were
consciously or
content.
subconsciously, because you have to accept that this is built into the system, the way that you hear things, the way that TV shows portray things, like it is built into your very subconscious to think less, to think less, and and that is the truth. Like so, yes, as long as it's happening to somebody else, it's okay. And further on top of that, as long as they could take that somebody else and make him the object of your problems, then you become even more okay with taking away those people's rights. But it just goes back to the point that we make all the time. You give up the rights of any person at all, any group, no matter how small, you're giving up everybody's rights. That's why there's no compromise. There isn't everybody except for the trans community. You know, it just doesn't work that way. It's everybody or it's nobody.
There are no limits to who the Constitution covers in the United States of America.
No. And the Constitution was just so-called enlightenment of after thousands and thousands of years of repression and even then was still there still was slavery, and they were still committing a genocide at the
Talking
same
about
time.
homage, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness while actively having slaves.
Actually having slaves on top of a genocide, a slave aside. It was like the United States is built on one of the greatest atrocities on the planet, and we don't talk about it. And that's part of this, and it's a large part of what the problem that we have today. Jake, you're an educator. Do you think that Do you agree with that analysis? I mean, it's part of it's definitely a huge part of the problem that people are not taught American history the way that it happens, or even social everyday news items don't get treated the way that they should.
Yeah, I always tell you this, like I read historical fiction, not often, but like sometimes when I have to read historical fiction, I'll be like, wow, like that's crazy. And then like you look it up and it's the truth. So like I learned more from leisure historical fictions than I did from like actual high school classes of history or anything. Like we never talked about World War One. We never talked about Vietnam. Like if we did, it was maybe a day or two, but we spent a majority on like World War Two, which is like okay, I guess, but like there's so much more to us than just like the one war.
Right. It's the
Yeah.
one where we can make ourselves look the best thing.
Right. And we didn't even that wasn't even our most destined war. So like it doesn't make really that much sense. And it's like also like now that there's another one happening, why did you educate us so much just to allow it to happen to someone else? So it's like also like you educated us so much and said this is evil, this is terrible, this will never ever happen again in history, and then we're funding it.
100%.
They it's all programming to where we remain submissive to our government. They make us seem like the good guys in every situation, like everything they're doing is for the betterment of the world, so that we never speak out. Well, they never planned for us after they taught us all this stuff that we would actually realize what the government is doing to us, that we would start questioning what they tell us. They never planned for that. They just thought we would blindly follow with American pride and not
Pledge
see the actual
allegiance.
atrocities we commit
I pledge allegiance to the flag
every single day.
every goddamn day. No, it's a coordinated effort, and it's something that we do not just here, we do it all over the world. Uh, so just briefly, not enough of people with big platforms are speaking out. Mark Ruffalo obviously has been out there. Kalani, there's been a bunch. There's been a bunch of like outspoken celebrities who have stayed outspoken. Um, but the NBA Players Association coming out with a statement is actually pretty huge, I think. I mean, they are a union, and therefore they should be on the side of human rights. But this is their statement following the news of yet another fatal shooting in Minneapolis, a city that's been on the forefront of the fight against injustices. A nod to George Floyd there. NBA players can no longer remain silent. Now more than ever, we must defend the right to freedom of speech and stand in solidarity with the people in Minnesota protesting and risking their lives to demand justice. The fraternity of NBA players, like the United States itself, is a community enriched by its global citizens, and we refuse to let the flames of division threaten the civil liberties that are meant to protect us all. The NBA Players Association and its members extend our deepest condolences to the families of Alex Preddy and Renee Good, just as our thoughts remain focused on the safety and well-being of all members of our community. Good for the NBA.
That's all it takes to stand up to injustice. Every
Yeah,
voice is lifted.
it is. It's just, it's good to hear. Especially since like, uh, these people who are so outspoken about ice and stuff, they do not mind enjoying the NBA playoff season. You know, in a couple of weeks, NFL football is going to be over, and everybody's going to be talking about the NBA. Uh, and most of these fucking racists will be out there watching these games, like it's nothing.
Oh,
Uh,
take me out to the ball game. Think about how many of them be watching baseball.
yeah, right. This without the multinational diversity of sports, they would be extraordinarily boring and certainly not the best athletes in the world. You see, watch the World Baseball Classic, and you see like was one of the coolest things because it's like every player plays for their own country, and the United States does not dominate that sport. You know, they do not. People from all over the world. And now you've got the Olympics and everything else. I just don't see any way that they can continue to have these things here in our country with the way things are. People
I
aren't going
don't see it de-escalating to where it's going to get better for people to be like, oh, well, things have calmed down.
to. Right. I don't either. All right. So uh this is kind of interesting because we're going to talk a little bit about ICE detention centers, but we test things in Israel on Palestinians from companies like Palantir, man, and I preach about this all the time, and BlackRock and all these evil corporations test their most evil products in Israel. And that is, they are a product of the United States military, the slush fund that exists. This is where our tax dollars go. They do not come back to the people. They focus mostly on the war machine. And so here we have this is ICE and DHS working with Israel. Boy, this one's real small. Can you just...
Yeah.
Thanks. For, Thank you. For years, ICE officials have taken trips to Israel to share best practices regarding checkpoints, prisons, settlements, and airports. ICE's investigation arm, the Homeland Security Investigations, has offices in Tel Aviv, where they coordinate with Israeli security and law enforcement agencies on intelligence exchange and investigations. The ADL, Anti-Defamation League, has organized its national counterterrorism seminars in Israel, bringing U.S. law enforcement officials, including ICE personnel, to meet with IOF and police units to exchange operational perspectives. In 2016, then President Obama signed the U.S.-Israel Advanced Research Partnership Act into law, which promoted joint homeland research and anti-terrorism programs between the U.S. and Israel with an emphasis on cybersecurity and collaboration. Imagine, after having been lied to by Netanyahu and dragged into the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, to think that the best arbiter to tell you who a terrorist was would be Israel in 2016, after having won a campaign on running against the war.
This is a valid time for us to actually say, thanks, Obama. What the fuck?
Yeah.
This is why, like, it's obviously, like, we've seen, like, we're speaking out about it now, but the cycle has continued through Democrat, Republican. It doesn't matter.
For
like,
sure.
We're hanging out with Israel.
without diminishing in any way the fact that the Republican Party is a death cult of psychopathic fascists who none of us would ever vote for.
Right.
The Democratic Party continues to not be the take the moral high ground. It's a simple moral high ground, but they refuse to take it.
They have not distanced themselves enough. Though they have distanced, they have not distanced themselves enough.
Yeah, it's arm's length. It should be fucking
football fields,
oceans,
miles, right?
It should not be decipherable. There should be nobody who ever gets confused about that. So we know that almost $4 billion in real money. So it was reported 3.3, but closer to $4.02 billion in additional U.S. aid to Israel, according to the analysis by Stephen Semler, is despite the fact that Israel's GDP per capita exceeding that of roughly 80% of U.S. congressional districts. So Israel itself, its GDP is larger than 80% of the U.S., and they are getting $4 billion worth of aid, while these states can't have even SNAP. The package includes the $3.3 billion in military aid, $702.5 million more via Pentagon funding for missile defense and related programs. That's the Golden Dome, the fake Golden Dome program. Conversely, the U.S. has banned funding from UNRWA and conditioned Palestinian assistance on strict compliance with U.S. political priorities. And they burned the UNRWA building to the ground just the other day. So if you thought there was any hope, the best hub for them to distribute aid, they bulldozed and then burned to the ground. So by 2026, U.S. aid to Israel reached an estimated $352 billion since the state's inception, including $263 billion in military aid adjusted for inflation.
Since the state's inception, what year was it?
I guess 47.
Man.
Yeah.
Hundreds of billions of dollars.
Fucking wild. And it is so that they can coordinate projects like these detention centers. And we're hearing more and more about how ICE detention. So what does detention? First, what does detention look like in Israel?
כאן נדרשת מנהיגות, שינוי כיוון. ואני מברך את השר בן גביר שהוא הביא את זה.
מינימום של מינימום תנאים, אבל יש עוד משהו שחייבים לעשות. עונש מוות למחבלים.
So those videos are the propaganda that Israel is okay with you seeing. So what we have here is this report that was put out. And these are survivors of Israeli torture. And they describe their conditions in Israeli prison camps in gruesome detail. So if you have a weak constitution, now would be the time to check out. Living Hell follows Bet Salam's August 2024 report, Welcome to Hell. Building on the extensive research and analysis carried out for the previous report, it provides updates and figures and new testimonies from 21 Palestinians released from Israeli prisons in recent months and draws on data from other Israeli and international human rights organizations. The updated information indicates that Israeli prisons continue to function as a network of torture camps for Palestinians, with the systemic abuse even more extensive than before. This includes physical and psychological abuse, inhuman conditions, deliberate starvation, and denial of medical care, all of which has led to numerous deaths. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like a nice detention center? Does that sound like Alligator Auschwitz to you?
Verbatim.
Some witnesses also described undergoing and witnessing sexual violence and abuse. You'll recall the woman in Louisiana who was repeatedly raped for access to talk to her daughter by a guard, right? Among others, the transformation of prisons into a network of torture camps is part of the Israeli regime's coordinated onslaught on Palestinian society, aimed at dismantling a Palestinian collective, just as this is aimed at dismantling a collective of working class people here in America. So here is, I'm going to fuck up some of these names and I apologize. Hatham Salam. They try to scare us and break our spirits all the time. Twice a week, they carried out suppression operations. They threw stun grenades into the cells, injured detainees, forced us to kneel with our hands on our heads, and swore at us. The soldiers made me a shawish in charge of the other detainees and ordered me to slap them. They told me, if you don't beat the detainees, we'll beat you. When I slapped the detainees, I apologized to them. The soldiers beat me and cursed me anyway. These were the hardest days of my life. They showed no mercy or compassion toward any of us. It gets worse. The soldiers dragged me along the ground. This is Mahmoud Abu Fu. The soldiers dragged me along the ground and put me in a narrow cell, like a coffin. One of them said to me, "We're going to leave you in this coffin until you die, you son of a bitch." I was terrified and thought they were going to kill me. I stayed locked in that coffin for several days, completely isolated without food and almost no water. Every time I shouted and begged for water or food, the soldiers opened the door, beat me hard, and shut it again. When I needed the bathroom, I called out to the soldiers, but they ignored me. I tried to hold it in, but in the end was forced to wet myself. The soldiers opened the coffin from time to time just to see if I was alive. This is Jibril al-Shafati. I woke up and found myself lying in a large pool of blood. I was shocked. I looked at my feet and saw they were bleeding. It was a horrible sight. I started screaming and crying hysterically, hoping someone would come to help me. I was taken to the prison hospital. A doctor in uniform said to me, "Listen, your life is in danger. You have to choose between having both your legs amputated and dying." I started crying and screaming, hoping someone would hear my pain, my torment, my grief. They handed me a document and forced me to sign it that I agreed to have both legs amputated. The last suppression act, this is Saeed El Khatib. The last suppression act I experienced was 3 days before my release. They ordered us to lie face down and brought in very big, frightening dogs the size of sheep. You saw them in the video. They ordered 2 detainees to go outside. One of them was a mental health professional. When they came back, they told us that outside, the soldiers had stripped them and made a large dog climb on them and stand on their chests. The Israeli military was especially interested in humiliating doctors and medical professionals from hospitals in the north. We have heard reports in Minnesota of them targeting and detaining people, preventing people from getting to their medical care. And then, of course, Alex Preddy was an ICU nurse for VA veterans. The soldiers arrested me and took me naked to a nearby building. This is Mohammed Abu Tawila. Sorry. Building the military had seized and turned into a military post. They tied my hands, covered my eyes with a piece of cloth, and left me naked. I was kept in this building for 3 days, during which I was interrogated under torture. An army officer questioned me about Hamas leaders, tunnels, and weapons. During the interrogation, the soldiers put out cigarettes on my body, poured hydrochloric acid on me, and burned my back with a lighter. Because of the burns, I lost sight in my left eye. ICE has blinded at least 2 people just with pepper spray. They ordered me to take off my boxer shorts, and I was left completely naked in front of the female soldiers. They searched me. This is from Ibrahim Fuda. They completely naked in front of the female soldiers. They searched me very thoroughly using a scanning device. They blindfolded me. You'll see the scanning device. Again, this is Palantir. This is Meta. These are these military companies testing their shit on Palestinians. Uh, didn't understand where we were. They beat me with batons and sticks for a long time out of desperation, tried to push the blows away and fight back at the soldier, but I couldn't. Just then they gave me a heavy blow and I fell. One of my ribs break. From there, they transferred me to another place, this time in an armored vehicle. I understood the place was called Al Kalabat. They threw me on the ground and dogs started stepping on me and attacking some of the other detainees. You'll remember they dragged that man out of his house in his boxer shorts, who was an American citizen. They have broken the ribs of 2 old people that I'm aware of during arrests. And this one is from someone anonymous with the initials SS at SD Taman. I went through the hardest days of my life. I'm still suffering severe trauma. They held me naked. Soldiers set dogs on me that attacked me. They beat me on the penis, tied it with a plastic cord, and caused swelling and bleeding. One detainee lost a testicle as a result of the torture. There have been widespread reports of ICE agents targeting the testicles of detainees for torture during detention, especially young people, which is also disgusting because we know how many fucking child molesters there are in that group of people. So about 200 people, myself included, got scabies and scratched ourselves until we bled. When we asked for treatment, they told us you haven't seen anything yet. The doctors also beat us. There were also cases in which prisoners' teeth were broken. Uh, American citizen, the 15-year-old Ibrahim was returned to the United States, also reported having scabies and being beaten. So Tamir Quamat, during the torture, one of the soldiers raped me. He shoved a wooden stick up my anus, left it there for about a minute, and then pulled it out. Then he shoved it back in, even harder, and I screamed at the top of my lungs. After a minute, he pulled the stick out again, told me to open my mouth, pushed the stick in my mouth, and forced me to lick it. I was flooded with feelings of injustice and humiliation. Minnesota
This
resident.
is our greatest ally. This is our
Yes.
greatest ally.
Who,
All of this that you're reading is coming to a private prison near you.
yes, it likely is already there. And in many cases, it is. Minnesota resident says she was illegally detained by ICE, adding that she was subjected to abuse and racial slurs. So, a U.S. citizen from St. Paul, Nazra Ahmed, says she was violently detained by ICE, held for 2 days without explanation, suffered a concussion and other injuries after being pushed and handcuffed. She was subjected to treatment even after showing proof of citizenship. While in detention, she was subjected to racial as well as physical abuse, adding that agents used racial slurs against her during her process of arrest and detention. She gave her account of her arrest at a press conference in Minnesota Capitol on Thursday. This is what untreated racism looks like. This is what a unacknowledged genocide looks like. I'm sorry, how hard that was to have to hear, but just think that there are real people who endured that, who had to have it traumatized, who have been traumatized, tortured, and survived. And so we have to acknowledge it. It has to be acknowledged. And this is, like Brad said, what's coming clearly to a place near us. Just recently, they tried to lie about that Cuban man who they choked to death in prison, said it was a suicide, and the coroner said, actually, no. This man was clearly choked to death. They tried to deport the witnesses to that murder. We are in a bad and dark place. A very bad, very dark place. Soldiers have also been soldiers. My God, forgive me. ICE agents have also been clocked with Meta's glasses being used to record. So just know that they are all in on this together. Here is a video of an ACE detention center, not in Israel, but here in Dilley, Texas, small town Dilley, Texas.
I'm outside. I'm outside. It doesn't say out here. And I've just been ordered to leave the premises. I've just been ordered to leave the premises, and she's yelling at me right now, so I'm going to head back to my car.
That's not Nick Shirley. That is an immigration lawyer who is there to speak to a client. Those are the screams of children inside that detention center. Sheesh. And we get videos like this.
Stop! What is your name? What is your name?
It's a child.
You have a warrant for this. You have legal. Yo soy legal. Yo soy legal. Keep blowing your whistle.
And another thing that they're doing now is they're starting to change tactics. ICE agents are starting to wear less militarized clothing. They're starting to wear hoodies, masks, even whistles. It's trying to blend into people in the crowd and look more like regular folks so they don't get recognized right away. It's a big fucking problem.
Dude, imagine a masked man in a hoodie running up on you on the sidewalk.
It's a nightmare.
You're getting executed. They're getting, these ICE agents are getting killed if they try that.
For sure.
Like, it'd be a lot easier if you wore body cameras and didn't cover your face and very clearly showed what you were doing, but you're cowards and you try and hide as much as possible. So heaven forbid you do that.
Yeah, and people just get disappeared. People can't find each other. Like, we know what happens. But I mean, and this is we will cover more of this as it develops, as it continues to develop. But that is what is happening here in the United States of America. We're going to come back. We got some conspiracies to do, but I'm going to leave you. Instead of a commercial, we have AOC singing the song of revolution, talking about breaking up the pharmaceutical industry.
And CVS in the investor call used the example themselves of a patient known as Kate. Kate has an Aetna health insurance plan right here, and which is owned by CVS Health. She then goes to a CVS pharmacy. She's connected to an Oak Street Health medical clinic. She sees a doctor at Oak Street Health who prescribes her medication. And then she goes to fill that prescription at a CVS pharmacy. So the price Kate pays for that medication is dictated by Aetna, CVS Caremark, and they also own the drug manufacturer Cordavis. Mr. Joyner, this is quite a bit of market concentration. Wouldn't you agree?
No, I wouldn't agree that it's market concentration. I would suggest it's a model that works really well for the consumer.
Yeah, I think it works very well for CVS. I think, in fact, you all said on the call that you all call it a fully engaged member. It's great marketing there. Fully engaged member unlocks sizable value for payers and CVS Health. So the health insurance gets a cut, the pharmacy benefit manager gets a cut, the drug manufacturer gets a cut, and the patient gets screwed. I think the Federal Trade Commission has also found that healthcare conglomerates like CVS Health charge more for medications filled at their pharmacies. We're talking about 1,000% markups on medications for cancer and HIV. And, I think this is actually an interesting point of common ground that I may have with some of our Republican colleagues here in this hearing. Because whether you're a blue-blooded capitalist or a card-carrying democratic socialist. I think corporate monopolies are a problem. And this vertical integration is destroying people's ability to access care. You know, I don't think we're seeing this across the board. And if they can self-deal, you know, I saw something that was interesting from the opening statement of Mr. Hemsley from United Health, talking about how much United spends, what was it, 85% on care, Mr. Hemsley? Approaching 90%. But the ACA forces you all to spend a decent amount of that on subsidies on care. But when you own the care, when the insurer owns the pharmacy, owns the PBM, owns the drug manufacturer, you also own the healthcare cost. You own a big chunk of the healthcare cost. And so, you know, 100 years ago, we had this type of market concentration in our banks. And we did something about it when it crashed the economy. And we passed the Glass-Steagall Act. We should be considering that in our healthcare system.
We're back. All right, welcome back. What's Left podcast, John, Jake, and Brad. On Sundays, we usually dive into conspiracy adjacent things and try to dive into the world. But the world has been so weird that it's really just kind of blended into like other news stories. And that's kind of where we're at. So these things, they may be bored of conspiracy, but have most of what we're going to talk about here is fact. And it's, you know, not all conspiracy is theory. Some conspiracy is just actual fact. And that's what we're going to look into today. We'll let Brad jump in and kick us off. Go ahead, Brad.
So this is one that may or may not definitely have absolutely happened. We have watched the downfall of our democracy for years, long before Donald Trump. At the start of Ronald Reagan, it became a country run by oligarchs. That was the beginning of the end of our democracy. However, they are, in my humble opinion, trying to turn us into a completely submissive police state. And they're doing so has started over the last 10 years. Donald Trump had an abysmal first term by pretty much anybody's standards. He did terrible. Job growth was terrible. He mishandled the pandemic. He did an awful job. So during the 2020 election, Donald Trump and his minions, like TPUSA, essentially what I'm saying is this is the greatest grift of all time that essentially leads to us having our rights taken away. Along with his grifters from TPUSA, planned an insurrection at the Capitol building on January 6, 2021. Bootlicking cowards cosplaying as patriots stormed the Capitol because Donnie T told them that he won the election and it was rigged. So they created an insurrection at the Capitol, setting a precedent for 2024 when Elon Musk, the world's wealthiest person, donated hundreds of millions of dollars to the Donald Trump campaign, worked exclusively with Donald Trump, so much so that Donald Trump implemented him into our government after he won the 2024 election. And I use the air quotes because I don't believe that he did. Even now, watching the pushback and his abysmal approval ratings, I can't see how he ever won. But in 2024, after what we watched and we spoke out against in 2020, or in 2021 technically, so we couldn't, for the Democrats to immediately start screaming rigged, they were put in a position where they couldn't because they spoke out so hardly against Donald Trump screaming it was rigged in 2021. That's essentially what they did, to where people questioned whether they were allowed to question the results of the election. That's what happened. That's why it's never come to fruition. Everything that Donald Trump told us about 2020 election was a lie. It's been disproven by Marco Rubio. It's been disproven by multiple members of a cabinet that he appointed. Like it all turned out to be a lie. Everything Donald Trump said. Jack Smith is currently testifying about how Donald Trump should have been charged for inciting a riot on the U.S. Capitol building. So now he's in. We're here. We are in it. There's no getting around it now. And Americans are being murdered in the streets while Donald Trump lines up billionaires at his inauguration, letting us know where we're headed. And there's nothing you can do to stop it now. He appointed billionaires to the federal government to basically get in, pull out whatever they could that made them look responsible for crime, and then bailed. That's essentially what Elon Musk did with Doge. He just got in, made sure that the people pursuing him could no longer pursue him for the crimes that he was committing against the American people, and then got out and continued to make money because they are running the ultimate grift. Erica Kirk is on a fucking, I don't know what it's called, but there's a lot of pyrotechnics for someone that lost their spouse months ago. And the grift, it just continues, except now they're killing us. And there's nothing we can do about it. If there's no election in 26, what are we going to do? Because they're killing us. Like, it has come down to, we let democracy fall so far on a grift, on a lie, that we're now being slaughtered in the streets by our federal fucking government. That is what I think happened. Allegedly, again, this is all a conspiracy theory. It might not be true at all, or could be verbatim fact, and definitely, absolutely is the scenario. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I think what's important here is, like, when I was talking earlier, like, and Jake pushed back and he said, you know, like, we have to recognize that, like, there are bots out there that push these narratives, but there are also real people who did vote for Donald Trump. There is support for this. There is racism, misogyny. Like, so I think that's kind of the hesitation too, is like, because for me anyway, like, what to talk about it as being stolen, because there's really there is evidence. And if the evidence, you know, comes to court and can be proven, I'm all for that. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and deny that, like, there aren't things working through court that could be true. But I think it's far more important to look at our own, like, as Democrat voters, to look at our own part and what we can do to fix our party to be better, so that it can actually be different and be an alternative and bring this country back into some semblance of fucking sanity on the other side of this, because it's over. Like, which is kind of what you're saying, right, Brad? Like, it's over.
Yeah, it's over. Like AOC said in the video we watched right before the break, we can agree, most people can agree, that corporate monopolies are a bad thing. And right now, the corporate monopolies control the entire government. Yeah. There are like 8 people that aren't taking PAC money in our whole fucking government.
These little billionaires that have popped up on top of these billionaire corporations are, like, as a result of further vertical integration of these businesses into one person controlling all that wealth. You know what I mean? Like, so now you have, like, whereas corporations used to be the only transnational organizations that could break international law and not worry about it and just pay fines. Now you have whole human beings that can do it as well, you know, for their own personal benefit and personal gain. And that's where you end up with Epstein Islands and things like that. Like, this is where you end up with these huge human traffic sex rings. Like, this is because these people operate outside of, they're American citizens, but, like, there could be any citizen they want to be. Like, they can fucking take their private plane and leave at any time. Nobody can stop them from doing what they want to do, essentially. They are, in effect, above the law.
Yeah. I mean, they are. We have a billionaire as the head of the country who has proven that he is above the law.
For sure. By becoming a billionaire in the fucking, as the president of the United States. Like, I mean, his net worth is soared.
Grifting. Billions, literal billions, made billions first year of this term.
Yeah. That very conservative estimate by, was the Wall Street Journal, $1.4 billion.
Yeah. Forbes magazine had it at 3.2.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely higher, but you cannot say less than 1.4 billion. That's fucked. That's fucked up. All right. Yeah. Jake, any thoughts on Project 2025?
I was just like, well, how much does he spend on the American taxpayers' money though? Like he's made that much money and he spends how much of ours? That's around the same amount.
Yeah,
I saw the comparison of like the 10 decades of presidents spending about so much and then like the 1 year compared to him. Like it's insane.
Well,
don't forget he's suing the American taxpayer for $320 million.
Right. Like as if he wasn't making enough, drifting enough, and driving the debt up by almost 4 trillion to your point, Jake. We're like $3.8 trillion in 1 year of presidency. He's also suing.
Do we get to negate the $2,000 he's going to give each one of us?
I'm hoping that we can at least cut out the Doge money. I
We
mean,
get to
damn.
use that as our down payment.
I'm going to tell you, yeah, it ain't coming in your tax return this year. Promise you that. I don't care how many tips and overtime you worked. You ain't catching up to groceries. Just ain't happening. All right. So speaking of that, I want to talk about this because this is kind of crazy. There's every like fact checking source is quick. So the thing that started this all was like people were like, "Did you know that Erica Kirk is banned from Romania?" Erica Kirk is not banned from Romania, but the underlying reason cited is true. There was major human trafficking going on in Romania at the time. And these could be confirmed by reading Romanian newspapers. You won't really find it in any English-speaking paper, but if you go and you look at these Romanian newspapers, it was widely reported the missing children, the connections to the U.S. military base, and the connections to the Romanian Angels, even the organization that she was most certainly a part of. Very young at the time, but most certainly a part of, friends with the military people who were engaged in this operation. It was real. It happened. There were children trafficked. There were people charged. She was part of promoting that. You can see her ad on line for this Romanian Angels charity that she worked for. Like this thing was real. It has all kinds of connections and tentacles all over the place. And yet you can't find that in English-speaking newspapers. No acknowledgement of the fact that the part of the Romanian sex trafficking thing is true. And here's why I think it matters the most. Because as she goes on her glitter tour, talking about how everybody else is a demon. In fact, let me play you just one small clip from her latest tour, which is called, well, let me not do that. Hey, there's my home screen, folks.
Oh yeah, this is raw, uncut footage.
Yep.
I
called a punk rock garage band for nothing.
I'll have to find the social security number.
Yeah. There's nothing on there to see. So here's Erica in her glitter suit at her Make Heaven Crowded tour.
The videos that came in to that chat, awkwardly enough, was a clip of Rachel Maddow and Jimmy Kimmel. I can't even believe I'm saying their names in a church, but together. But it was interesting because he asked her the question, do you think these protests are helping? Personally, I do not. I think it's demonic.
Protesting is demonic. That's what the billionaires are pushing to you. They want you to believe that you and you're upset about people being fucking executed in the street in front of your face. Like, that's demonic. These are the same people who are telling you that you being upset about brown children in Palestine being wiped out by giant fucking bombs while they're on their way to school is demonic. Okay, so maybe these people don't have as much credibility as you might think, but yet still people line the streets to go see this fucking grifting bitch. And here's why it matters. And here's why this whole thing matters. And this Romanian thing matters, because now she's doing this tour with a Reverend Greg Laurie. And Greg Laurie has been named in multiple lawsuits involved in this very same Romanian sex trafficking ring. And she took him along anyway. So, if not if not truth, why truth shaped is what I want to know.
I'm just saying, one thing could be a coincidence. A dozen things feels like a pattern.
It feels like a pattern. They lie about every goddamn thing.
I
Every
mean,
goddamn thing.
Erica Kirk, her entire identity is a lie.
Yeah.
They talk about, how she's like abstinent from alcohol and this and that and other. And like, we saw your fucking party girl audition for whatever reality show you were trying to be on. Like, we know the truth.
Yeah. We got this home videos of her just like sloshed out of her fucking mind. And then obviously people have told on her like she's dated many people before that, like most normal people would her age. Just it's nuts with the kind of lies I want you to believe.
They lie because they know that they can.
Yeah. Jake, have you seen any of her latest tour?
No, I only see the drag queen that impersonates her and donates some money to ACLU. And that is the only Erica Kirk media I will ever consume.
Ever consider? Should we play a video of her?
Yeah, we should. She sends her money to ACLU.
Hold on one sec.
On the cross, our Savior said, Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do.
She's great. And donating all that money is
I don't know if it's all, but most, probably.
yes to the ACLU, yes. And it's funny too. I just realized that Erica Kirk
that's her job.
Erica Kirk fucked that quote up. Did you guys catch that?
Oh yeah. Not know what they do.
They not know what they do. Yeah. Fucking.
It's tough when you've never read it and somebody sent you a text message 3 minutes ago that you have to remember.
Ain't that the truth? Never read it. Probably never read. All right. All right, Jake, go ahead.
Mine's just a little PSA. So, with the show Heated Rivalry going around, and women consuming queer media has been around for ages. I think it started in like 1979 with like this first story written by a woman. But the thing is, there's always a line, and we always have to be respectful and try not to cross said lines. So when there are viewing parties of a queer show at a bar, maybe it's best not to kick out the gay man that came to watch it because he wanted to see his like personality portrayed in a TV show by straight women. Maybe we don't go to bars asking gay men to kiss each other so you can watch. Maybe we don't make the queer spaces that we've fought so hard for unsafe places for queer people. So as straight women, yes, we love you. Yes, we will always give you a drink and tell you you're pretty and everything, because you are, and we support you. We have to give the respect back to the queer community. We're not objects. We're not here for your entertainment. And it's like someone said, like, there's always these two things. They're either the gays who hype them up and like they're best friends and blah, 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 or they're the super buff ones that they just fawn over and say that they wish they could date and stuff like that. We are not your objects. We're not your toys. We are people with feelings. And maybe when you want to read queer media, choose queer authors and other things to support the queer community more. Thank you.
Thanks for coming to the TED Talk. It is super important, because we just have this tendency to run over other people's culture, and it is a fine line. It's not a fine line. There is a line between appropriating and appreciating someone's culture.
Right. And I want you to consume. Like I want you to understand. I want you to enjoy what we create and what we do, but in a respectful way.
Yes. And I think it's fair to say that you can't understand or learn about the culture from someone who is not in that culture.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I've yet to consume any of Heated Rivalry. I will not read the books and I will not watch the show. But I also know because it's not for me. Even though it is a queer themed book, I just read Yellowface and it kind of gives me the same feeling of like this author taking on the role of a group that she doesn't know. And it makes me think like, well, that's not really for me. because I've read books by like queer authors, and I'm like, oh my God, like they pull these experiences and these things, and it's so much more powerful coming from someone has experienced this in their lifetime.
It's very different, like for say, like a straight person to write a history of say Stonewall, than it is for them to write a novel, a romantic novel about a love affair at Stonewall.
And the gay sex in book, I don't know if I don't know how she did her research, but I haven't, I don't know, like go off queen, but like, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't, I know it's not from, I don't have any desire to read it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It is catching fire. But I just, like you said, I'm just not sure how helpful that is sometimes.
Just calm down, girlies. Calm down.
Fair enough. Let me take a deep breath.
Yeah.
On the heated rivalry thing. All right. That's really, I mean, we are way the fuck over time. But go ahead, Brad. You want to say something else?
I thought you were gonna say something about the Melania film.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we can't leave without in the meantime, Jake, you want to throw that one up? So while all of this is going on, Marie Antoinette and his wife are in the White House, queening about their golden palace. And if you recall, Jeff Bezos paid 40 million. There you go, Jake. It's paid all this money for this Melania film that they produced, and nobody has watched. Absolutely nobody has gone to see.
Wait a minute. A Melania film? Is this the one that Putin put on Russian state-run media, or not? Not that film.
No, not the pornography that.
Okay, good. Because I didn't know if we could put that on YouTube. I'm like, wait a minute, guys. Wait.
Hold up. Yeah, no. No. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, regularly, before the election and even now, like state-run Russian television puts pictures of Melania's old lingerie ads, let's say, on state-run television. This is Melania the film, and this is a tweet from Melania Trump. I am deeply humbled to have been surrounded by an inspiring room of friends, family, and cultural iconoclasts at the White House last night. Each of these individuals brought their unique vision of the world, making a lasting impression. Our personal stories endure time and serve as a reminder of our mutual obligation to one another. It was an honor to present my new film, Melania, ahead of its global launch. It did so well here in the United States. Now it's gonna go global. You just have nothing to say. Like you're an empty.
What is it about? What is it about? Am I missing something?
It's not about like any of the like she lied about her entire resume on her website. Like she lied about where she went to college. So I don't know. It's not, I'll tell you what it's not about. It's not about her meeting Trump through Jeffrey Epstein. It's not about the fact that she dated Epstein before she dated Trump. It's not about her fucking Trump on Epstein's plane, which is now Air Force One. It's not about her, lying about her college resume to get into the United States. It's not about her fake green card application. It's not about any of those things. It's not about how they were introduced at the Kit Kat Club, which is just obviously an establishment of highest repute. It's not about any of those things. I promise you that.
What a joke.
What a fucking joke. But the Epstein files are, at least those motherfuckers. Yeah. Let's leave it there. Good show. Thanks for everybody for listening. Thanks for pushing us out into the algorithm. Because this shit, let me tell you, none of what we just said is getting out there because Meta wants it to be. Certainly not the Alphabet Corporation is like, yes, we put our stamp of approval on the What's Left podcast. So we need yours. So thank you for continuing to do it. Push us out into the algorithm. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads, wherever you see our stuff. Like, share, and follow. And we love having you in the comments too. So keep up the comments. We'll talk to you there. Until next time, I'm John.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Brad.
And that's what's left.
When the government fears the people, you have liberty. When the people fear the government, you have tyranny. Thomas Jefferson.